Why the Texas Stock Exchange?
Yeah. I had an opportunity to leave a great career at NASDAQ to build something that can really change the markets again.
Yeah.
As you saw the evolution with NASDAQ and electronic trading, we're at an inflection point in our public markets. We've seen kind of an all-time low, a bottoming out of companies that have remained public. We're just at above 4,400 today compared to over 9,000 in the 90s. So that's almost a 45%.
Say that again, 4,400 today versus
today.
How many?
Over 9,000 in the 90s.
Wow.
So we're at a decrease of almost 45% of public companies that want to stay public. And then you compare that with exchanges worldwide, they've seen an increase by 45%. And in emerging markets, 235%. So it's not a global problem, it's a US problem. And not only companies don't want to be or stay public, it's going public has been less of a desirable outcome. They've taken private money and stayed private for as long as they can before they can go public. So, what are the reasons for that? And you can point fingers in a lot of directions, but the exchanges have become regulators of companies and ultimately an obstacle and a cost center and an unfriendly partner in this public company space, in this public world space, which is unfortunate because the US markets are an envy of the world. And we need to make sure that we give companies that option to have public capital and use that for their benefit in growing their company.
So is it strictly, I would assume that part of that is the exchanges becoming regulators, and the other part would just be the burden of being a publicly traded company. Michael Dell, a Texan who started Dell Computer out of his dorm room at the University of Texas while I was drinking a lot of beer instead. Took his company public and then took it private. There is...
Harold Hamm did that with Continental Resources in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And it reduced his operating costs by 20%.
Right. So
Twitter right now. I mean, I know Twitter wasn't Elon Musk before, but he took it private.
Mm-hmm.
So
and then cut everything out.
So part of it is I don't want to deal with the burdensome regulation that the exchange is going to impose on me. Part of it may be I'd rather be a private company and not deal with the public. They're calling me and asking why I'm not earning for down a penny this quarter. But that's still that significant of a decline in public companies. I didn't realize it was exclusive to the U.S.
It is.
That's very telling.
So what we think is, and what we can see is under the duopoly, corporates haven't been a focus. The exchanges that are available today, there's just two. So, NASDAQ and New York, if you think about where they've put their money to invest, it's not been in the listings or corporate business. It's been in growing their fintech franchise as a NASDAQ, company acquired Adenza for $10 billion a few years ago. That's very telling where their focus of growth is. And ICE, the parent company to the New York Stock Exchange, has focused on growing their mortgage business. So it just hasn't been a voice that has been heard as the corporate voice. And for us, that's the complete focus of the Texas Stock Exchange. We are an exchange being built by issuers for issuers, really looking at this as a true pro-business entrepreneur exchange with the ethos of Texas that has really allowed us to thrive in this state, and why the next exchange should be based in Texas is this is the new center of gravity for the financial centers of the U.S.